I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, everybody, welcome. Oh, no Kathy today. You're going to do roll call for us?
Yes, I will be doing roll call, doing double duties. So Mayor Stride?
Yes.
Alderwoman Sabin?
Present.
Alderwoman Bartison?
Here.
Alderman Deskin?
Here.
Alderwoman Bergbauer's absent. Alderman Glogly?
Here.
Alderman Patrick McDonald?
Here.
Alderwoman Susan King?
Here.
And Alderman Jonathan Pugh.
Present.
Quorum present.
All right, sounds good. Thank you. Police Chaplain Bill Carroll's here to open us up.
Hey, everybody, pray with me, please. Dear God, we continue to lift up our local leaders today. We pray for our mayor, our city council, our county commissioners, police chiefs, and all those who serve our local communities. Strengthen them with wisdom and grace for the heavy burdens that they carry, and may they manage their teams and projects with love. Keep their hearts pure and their eyes turned towards your face as they work in the best interest of the people that they're called to serve. In your name, amen.
All right. Thank you much, Bill. All right, friends, we got any liaison reports?
I'll start. First of all, I just want to thank Public Works for all your hard work after Monday night storm. You guys were out early in the morning and cleaned up a lot of trees and branches, and we really thank you for it. And it was so nice, we actually got some likes on Facebook, which you don't see that very often, that we got compliments, so congratulations. But because of that, we are not done. So next Monday, we're gonna have an all-city branch pickup to help out for all the people who got hit with the storms. So please have out your branches by Sunday night. They're gonna start first thing Monday morning, and they're only gonna do just the one pass through the city. But because of the storms, we decided to add another run through. And please have your branches sticking, branch forward, leaves toward your house, so to help out. So thank you very much.
All right. Thanks, Jeff. Anything else?
I've got, on the police department side, on Monday, July 8th, 9 members of our police department were recognized for their involvement and/or handling of calls for service. Following members received letters of commendation: Officer Kevin Pendle, Officer Jesse Reyes, Officer Randy White, Officer Zach Lemacher, Officer Jeffrey Dobke, Officer Frank Slabanek, who was also named Officer of Quarter 1 of 2024, and Officer Joe DeMorty, who was also named Officer of the Quarter 2 of 2024. Also recognized were Sergeant Randy Smrgalski and Commander John Arizzi, both of which received the Meritorious Award. Additionally, on Friday, July 26th, from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m., the Beanies on State Street will be holding a Cones with Cops event. And on Saturday, August 3rd, from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. at Lockport Township High School's East Campus, the police department will be holding their annual community celebration. Officers will be grilling for the public. There will be vendors, games for children, along with music, touch-a-truck, and other activities. And also a thank you to the police department for some of the services around the downed wires. I know we had an officer posted for almost the entire night, if not the entire night, just keeping an eye on some energized wires to make sure nobody got hurt.
Right on. Thanks, Jonathan.
Welcome.
Anything else? What do you got,
I
Joanne?
just have a reminder for our residents that we are still accepting applications for the beautification recognition that will be at the end of August. So please, your home may be actually the one that will win. So send in your pictures to us so that way we can take a look at them and then place you either first, second, or third, or just being recognized for the job that you have done in beautifying your home. So.
Right on. Thanks.
Just real quick, Summer Art Series is in full bloom. Don't forget the Monday night car shows. They've been in great attendance. Monday we closed a little bit early because of the storms. Friday night concerts in the park down by the landing are still going. Just watch for the dates on those, and there's some movies coming up at the Roxy pretty soon again. Thank you.
And then we get Comicopoulos this Saturday. It's pretty fun. Well, that's all I have to do with the library. We work together with them, so. But they're going a little further this year. Used to end at 4, and that was it, but now they're doing evening events. So then it kind of comes into downtown. There'll be stuff at Embers, there'll be vendors there, there'll be costume contests, so kind of step up for a little bit more adult time to come downtown. So they got a lot of fun stuff there, too. But, all right, anybody else? All good? Bring out everything?
Does anybody know what your costume's going to be this year, Steve?
Well, I probably just pull out the Riddler again because I got that suit. But anyways.
And you found your hat.
I did find my hat. That was awesome, yes. I won't tell you where it is because it's embarrassing.
Was in your home?
Yeah.
Wasn't on your head.
Pretty much, yeah. It was on my head the whole time. It's like for 2 weeks. Yeah. So Ben and I, we did a quick fly-in and out to Washington with Crew. Crew is a group of communities along the waterways like Shanahan, Lamont, Lockport, Joliet, and others. It stands for Communities for Responsible and Efficient Waterways. One of those things like SHIELD where you find a cool word and then you make it work, right? So, but it was done by Hugh O'Hara and Rick Wisnowski for a while back to really set up advocacy for our waterways. I mean, we have the sanitary shipping canal, we have waterways going through, so whether it's for industry or recreation, but there's a lot of topics. Some of them, like local for us, is whether or not we end up using something. If the Psi Quantum comes here, that would be necessary. There'll be some things we have to work with the EPA. Even lock number 1, which we've had some, you guys all know that we've been concerned about it crumbling, so making sure we get some funding for that. So it was a good opportunity to talk to some federal representatives for this. So yeah, it was good. We just introduced ourselves to Senator Duckworth, Underwood. There's a number of others. So that was the Crew trip. As far as Psi Quantum goes, you know, you guys read it in the news. We're still working towards it. Still meetings about, you know, how things lay out, what the ultimate campus looks like and such. So we're all still working towards that. And I will say this, no matter where it goes, whether it's, you know, Lockport or Chicago, if it comes here to Lockport, it will be 100% because, you know, Lance is hard work. It's been amazing what you've done. I want to thank you for that. You've absolutely been responsive to everything that's needed to happen with that. Every question, you know, you're on it fast. So whatever the case is, thank you for that. And the other thing too, and I may have mentioned this before, is this is the first time our site has been on the radar. So there's been a lot of developers that we've had to talk with and work with throughout this process. So I think if nothing else, it's been a great marketing opportunity for the site regardless. So, but we'll see. We still think it's the absolute best place for this project, without a doubt. Yeah. So we'll see how it goes. And yeah, so those are my updates. So if there's nothing else, then we'll roll along. All right, so city council meeting, looking for a motion to have a consent agenda.
Second.
All right, Renee and Patrick, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, so we're looking to approve our regular city council meeting minutes from June 19th. Committee of the whole meeting minutes from June 19th. Our payroll period ending June 23 and July 7th. And then accept the proposal from Civil Tech Engineering for the intersection design study at Illinois Route 7. That was resolution number 24071. So we're looking for motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
All right, JR and Pat, and we'll do a roll call.
Saban.
Yes.
Bartleson.
Yes?
Deskin.
Yes.
Bergbauer's absent. Galogly.
Yes.
McDonald.
Yes.
Pugh.
Yes.
And King. Yes. Motion passes.
All right, so first thing on the agenda is Second Amendment to the annexation agreement for Lockport Square to allow for the rezoning
of lots 15A and portion of 13B from C3 to CT2. So we're going to open it up with a public hearing. So I shall read here. Oh, you guys, do we need to do a motion for a public hearing? Yes. Yeah, looking for a motion to have a public hearing.
So moved.
Okay, Jonathan, Renee, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. So this is a public hearing held pursuant to Illinois law to consider the Second Amendment to the annexation agreement for the development known as Lockport Square on or about east of South Edelman Road, south of 159th, west of I-355, the tollway, and located here in the city of Lockport. So looking for a motion to open it. We've already done, so we're good. So Sunny, can you give us some background summary agreements on this?
Yes, Mayor, members of the City Council, at the last Committee of the Whole, we discussed this Second Amendment to the annexation agreement governing Lockport Square development, which is located off of I-355 and 159th Street. The Second Amendment is to allow residential dwelling units in lots 15A and a portion of 13B from C3 highway commercial that is currently zoned and was zoned under the original annexation agreement to be rezoned to C2T, which is a transitional community commercial, and Lance will go into the detail regarding what that entails. It should be noted for the record that the publication for tonight's public hearing was complied with by state statute, and the publication was done in accordance to the Illinois Municipal Code, published at least 15 days prior to the hearing. If there are any questions, I will be more than happy to answer them to developers here. And the amendment, the Second Amendment was included in your agenda.
It's open to the public. Does anybody have any thoughts, concerns, questions? Anybody want to talk about it? You guys are all here for something else? It's okay. All right. Lance, as far as detail goes, you want to do it here, or do you want to do it when we do CD1?
It's up to,
Yeah, why don't we wait so we could close the public hearing and then vote on this, and then when it comes up to you, so we don't, unless you want to do it all together, but we need to close the public hearing.
You know what? Why don't you do it now? So that way it's still open for a public hearing.
Sure.
I'd hate for it to all get presented and people are like, oh my gosh, I have a question now. So why don't you present the details? And
So the rezoning is to accomplish the townhome section of the concept plan that was approved earlier this year. It is the far southeast corner of the overall development. Previously, the roughly target location from the original 2006 master plan, or the original development plan. The plan is for, as it was in the concept plan, townhomes. The interest in the C2T is to allow for a different type of townhome, one that allows for a resident to be able to operate a business in the first floor of that townhome. I think as the applicant presented at the last meeting, that they would be focused really on the areas that were up against the visible roadways where somebody would have a chance to be able to see it when they're driving up. It would not be my anticipation that these are all drive-to businesses. Nobody's going to happen to drive by this and say, oh, I didn't know that there was a candy store here or something like that. That's not really the intent of what these will ultimately become, but it allows for somebody to have an employee or something along those lines working with them in an office space on the first floor. Those are primarily what you'll typically find here. Will there be somebody that maybe sells their silver necklaces or jewelry that they make out of these spaces? Certainly that's a possibility. And we can always have, just like we can anywhere in the city, a home occupation, which is defined as something that's just you running your business out of your home via computer or other things. So it's a little bit elevated from what a home occupation would be, but it's fairly consistent with that, and the architecture will allow for those modifications to occur on that first floor if somebody chooses to do that. It could be anywhere in the development, so if there was somebody that wanted to open a shop on the main east-west promenade, they could do that. They could modify their first floor to accommodate that. The likelihood of that happening when it's invisible from any surrounding street whatsoever is limited, unless you have a destination business that you think people will truly come to you. So that's really the intent, and that's the idea, and I'll take any questions if there are any.
And I did forget to mention, but it was stated at the last meeting that there is a provision in the Second Amendment that states that if the final development plan is not in substantial compliance with what the developer has proposed at these meetings, and that the proposed plans are not submitted within one year from the date of recording of the Second Amendment, that this amendment will be null and void. So it gives a mechanism of making sure that what the developer presents is what they will present in their final development plan, and there's no, switcheroo or anything like that. So that's to ensure that, what is being stated, on the record by the developer would be presented later on in the approval process.
Any further thoughts, questions from council? Sounds good. Then if there's no spark any questions, then we'll ask for a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All right, Renee, JR, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, so then we're going to jump over to bills real quick. Looking for a motion to approve our bills through July 9th.
Did you want to take a motion on that, or do, on the actual resolution approving it, or do you
Isn't
want
that
to
the
wait?
next thing on here, CD1?
No, that's for the rezoning.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Well then, okay, my apologies.
So I would ask for a motion to approve Resolution 24-74, approving the Second Amendment to the annexation agreement.
So moved.
Second.
Did you get that, Sonny?
Yes, that would be Jonathan Pugh's a motion, seconded by Darren Deskin. Or,
All right.
okay.
And then we'll do roll call.
Saban.
Yes.
Bartleson.
Yes?
Deskin.
Yes.
Bergbauer's absent. Galogly.
Yes.
McDonald.
Yes.
Pugh.
Yes.
And King. Yes. Motion, and the mayor. Mayor, you get to vote.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right. So then we'll jump over to bills. Looking for a motion to approve our bills through July 9th.
Motion.
All right, Pat?
Second.
I was thinking nobody wanted to pay the bills. All right. Hey, can we do a roll call, please?
Saban.
Yes.
Bartleson.
Yes?
Deskin.
Yes.
Bergbauer's absent. Galogly.
I abstain. The city of Lockport is paying my employer for a fire hydrant.
Pugh.
Yes.
McDonald.
Yes.
And King. Yes.
All right, friends, CD1. So now we're looking for a motion to approve ordinance 24017. This is the rezoning of lots that we just talked about in the public hearing to CT2 Transitional Community Commercial. So looking for a motion.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All right, JR, Renee. All right, so any further discussion on this? You got anything else, Lance?
Nope.
All right. I mean, I will say this, so when we talked about this a long time ago, I know the owners of the property said, do something extraordinary that embraces some sort of business or commercial, and then, living space could make some sense. And so I appreciate this. I think it's something that creates flexibility and it's unique. And so looking forward to it being part of those designs that were presented at the last meeting. And I think we could stick in that vein. I think this could be really something special. So, okay, thank you. Well, then if there's nothing else, we're looking for a motion, or looking for a roll call.
Yes. Saban.
Yes.
Bartleson.
Yes?
Deskin.
Yes.
Bergbauer's absent. Galogly.
Yes.
McDonald.
Yes.
Pugh.
Yes.
And King. Yes. Motion passes.
All right. And that's everything. So looking for a motion to adjourn unless there's any new business. Nothing?
Motion to adjourn.
All right, Pat? Second. Aaron, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. You just tell me when you're ready, Sonny, and we'll jump over.
Okay.
State Farm fisherman, yanking the dollar bill.
Okay. Mayor's present. Mayor? Strike.
Yes.
Alderwoman Saban? Alderwoman Bartleson?
Here?
Alderman Deskin? Alderwoman Burkbauer's absent. Alderman Glogly?
Here.
Alderman Pat McDonald?
Here.
Alderwoman Susan King? Here. Alderman Jonathan Pugh?
Present.
Quorum's present.
All right. So first thing we got is looking to reappoint Laura Rogers on the Gaming Commission.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. This would be approving Resolution 24037 for the reappointment of Laura Rogers to the Video Gaming Commission. Currently, her position had expired. Each commissioner serves 3-year terms, and this would take her out until 2027. The Gaming Commission conducts hearings for licenses and applications to the gaming, any charges are against them or not, or if we ever have the deliberation of adding additional licenses, they deliberate that and recommend things to the council. So looking for Resolution 24037.
Everybody good with consent for Laura?
Who are the other 2 members on it currently?
I'm sorry, say again?
Who are the other 2 members currently on?
Oh,
It's
Pete
Pete,
Corelli and
And then I always forget third guy.
they don't meet a whole lot.
I'm trying to blank his name, Kevin.
Kevin,
Looks like,
Kevin,
Yeah. Looks like
Kevin,
Bradley Cooper's brother.
I want to say Kevin Rusty,
got it.
Kevin something.
Yeah.
I can look up on the website for you and tell you.
I just know it was Kevin. Okay.
For some reason, I thought we only had 2 folks on.
No, there's 3.
Okay, thanks.
All right, so next, we have the 6-month review of closed executive session meetings minutes. This is,
Yes. Mayor, members of the City Council, this is about time it's due. Our last review of the executive session meeting was back on January 17, 2024, and the Illinois Open Meetings Act requires that there be a review of all closed session meeting minutes from executive session meetings to determine whether or not confidentiality exists for the meeting minutes to be kept confidential and not disclosed, and whether or not some of the meeting minutes can be disclosed because the confidentiality no longer exists. So Resolution 2479 includes 2 lists, a Schedule A list meeting minutes that should remain confidential and not be released, and Schedule B list meeting minutes that should be released since confidentiality no longer exists. So if there are, and also the resolution approves any executive session meeting minutes that were not previously approved, and also approves the destruction of the verbatim destruction, the audio recording destruction after 18 months from the completion of the meeting. If there are any questions, I will be more than happy to answer them.
are you just telling us about this, or do we need to do some action?
Oh, no, this will be on consent.
Okay.
So just our annual, or semi-annual 6-month.
So you'll, all right, we'll review what you are opening up for everyone, so. that's-
Yep.
Everybody
And if there's any new members of the city council who want to review those meeting minutes, you're more than welcome to do that. Just let me know when you want to read them.
All right. You guys good consent then?
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
All right, next we've got some surplus property. What do you got for that?
Yes, so, oops. Mayor, members of the city council, this is kind of a background on how the city ended up acquiring this property. This is a property that is off of, off of McGregor and Tree Line Drive. It serves as a stormwater detention basin for Woodlands subdivision. Unfortunately, this property that was supposed to be, turned over to the HOA was not, and then throughout the years, there was a tax assessed value to this property. It started out $100. Then after it escalated, it went up to $165, which means that if you don't pay it, then it ends up going for, tax auction. And this is what happened, in which a tax buyer by the name of Mr. Garcia purchased the back taxes of this property, obtained it, thought that he could develop this property. It's not developable. It's, platted, and used for stormwater detention. Unfortunately, we could not get him to negotiate a good purchase agreement from him. He has not kept up the maintenance of the property. The city had, throughout the years, had to mow it, clean it up. There were liens filed under the Illinois Municipal Code where the city's allowed to foreclose on those liens, which we ended up filing last year and going through the whole redemption process, notifying him. He didn't, Mr. Garcia never responded, never appeared in court. We finally had the sheriff's sale in April, was able to get the sheriff's deed just last month, and it does, show that the city owns it. There's no purpose for the city to keep it. It's a, detention basin. The only purpose is for that, stormwater detention. So the proper way of, conveying a property that a city, a municipal body owns is to declare it as a surplus, publish that it's available, and not that it's available, but that it's going to be conveyed to the Woodlands HOA. The public hearing will be at the next city council meeting, and, when that happens, and the city approves this conveyance, the property would be rightfully deeded back to the HOA. We do have two representation from the representatives from Woodlands HOA, Neil Goldman, who's the president, and Judy Wilson, who's the treasurer. And I have to thank Judy Wilson for being very persistent on making sure that I filed this, because I do have a lot of things on my plate, but she was very, very persistent, and I appreciate that. So I'm glad everything turned out fine. If they want to speak, no, they do just want to wave and say that they're happy with the outcome. But if there's any questions, I am more than happy to ask them.
So then the HOA will be responsible for maintaining it?
In which they are. Right now, under their declaration of restriction that is recorded on the subdivision, they're legally obligated to maintain it. The city's not obligated to maintain it. We don't want to maintain it. It is their, under the annexation agreement, also the restrictive covenants, they're obligated to maintain it. And they have done so in the past. They're just afraid that if they go on someone else's property, that it creates a liability to them. This is a cleaner way for them to meet their obligation under their restrictions.
Yeah. I know this has been a thorn in your flesh. I know it takes a long time to go through this process, so I apologize, but thank you for sticking through it, and, finally here we are, so.
Yeah. And it had nothing to do with what the city did or didn't do. It was an incorrect error from various parties' assessment. The city's we were not obligated to correct it. We just did it because that's the right thing to do.
Yeah, it's easier for us to do it.
Yes.
So, okay, very good. So we'll have a public hearing next
Yes.
meeting?
Yes.
Sounds good.
Do you have other common areas in the homeowners association that you're responsible for? So this is the only one? Okay.
I have a question too. Brian, is this a wet retention or is it just overflow? I was going to drive by there and check it out, but. Normally dry? Okay. Lance, from the standpoint of all the problems, and Ben, we've had with retention ponds, there's no walls or anything this is just a berm that overflows?
It's a grassy
Just
bottom
low.
swale.
And
Okay.
can take
And
more
then-
water on?
And then when
Depression.
it drains into Fittyman Creek then? Is that true?
Yes, it does.
All right.
It goes through Maple Creek and down into Fittiman
Okay.
Creek.
And as far as the tax liability, when this is all said and done, they'll acquire it and they'll pay the tax assessment through their.
There won't be any tax.
Yeah, there won't
Oh,
be.
so there's no tax on that?
It's
So-
because it's a detention
Yeah, so
basin.
what happened was, there was an incorrect coding on the property. It should have been assessed to value and tax coded for a detention basin, because there is no tax liability for that. So, when the city got the property, obviously, we're not going to pay any property tax on it. The tax purchaser for the first 2 or 3 years after they purchase the property, they don't pay any property tax on it because there's no back taxes. So they're going to maintain it, and they're going to, I'm sure Mr. Goldman is going to make sure that there is no assessed value on it, and if it is, so we'll try to assist them on it.
Yeah, and there's annual reporting that has to get done on behalf of the association affiliated with that property, right? I'm just speaking from what I've heard at my own homeowners association meetings, is that there's some kind of annual just form you send back into the state. So look into it. I can try to get more information, but I don't know.
Is it like when the city has to file annually the P-tax for tax exemption? I don't know if we do that annually. Yeah.
You shouldn't have to do that.
Yeah.
Okay. I may be wrong.
Yeah.
I was under the impression that our homeowners association had to file to be a nonprofit, or not a nonprofit, but like to not pay tax on those parcels,
Yeah.
just to keep it updated.
Well, I know that the state legislators, they're working on a fix to prevent this type of problem from occurring again. So hopefully that will be in the books.
I'll try to figure
it
out
should
what
be
I'm talking
coded right
about.
now,
Yeah,
so
it should be
shouldn't come up.
coded, yeah.
Right.
I'll try to figure out what I'm talking about before the next meeting. Right.
Anything else? All right, very good, thanks. All right, so let's jump over to CD1, concept plan for some residential.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council. This is related to Resolution 24078, and I just want to draw your attention, there was a modification that I needed to make to the resolution that I placed on all of your seats. It is simply on the second page, you'll note that there is a orange mark on there. We had to add that condition that was in the Plan and Zoning Commission motion and approval. That was in there. It was actually in our staff report too, so it's not something that was added or anything like that. It was a motion that the staff had suggested the Plan Commission make, and they did. So with that, I'll start into it, though. The subject property is currently located within two jurisdictions, both unincorporated Will County, where it's zoned A1, and incorporated city Lockport, also zoned A1. The applicant seeking feedback from the city prior to moving to preliminary and final development plan review. MI Homes, they are in the audience tonight. They will do a follow-up presentation to mine. They developed the subdivision known as Silo Bend, located just east of the property. They have submitted a concept plan for a single-family development called Silo Bend West that follows a similar residential layout of the neighboring Silo Bend, inclusive of varying single-family products and models. MI will be introducing new products into the community as well as continue some of the same home series as is currently included in Silo Bend to the east. One of the new products is a single-family detached home having smaller lot sizes and smaller homes, approximately 1,700 to 2,100 square feet and 3 bedrooms, that the applicant notes is specifically targeted to first-time home buyers. The other is two-story rear-loaded townhomes having new architectural styles. The concept plan shows that the 109-acre development will have an average density of 3.53 units per acre. A 5.5-acre commercial site in the northwest corner will be created for future commercial at the northwest corner of the site. The site plan illustrates a total of 385 single-family homes comprised of 98 rear-loaded attached single-family townhomes, which is a new product series, 110 front-loaded attached single-family townhomes, which will be the exact same as what is in Silo Bend today in their townhome section. They will have 94 7,800 square foot single-family lots, which is another one of the new product series, and then 83 of the same homes that they have in their classic series, which is on really the south and east side of Silo Bend today. There are 3 main access points and cross accesses that are illustrated to include a south one at 167th Street, a second one at 163rd Street to the north, and then a cross access into Silo Bend to the east through their townhome section. Additionally, we have a number of different trails and bike paths that are located along the pipelines that run north and south. So if you kind of see the wide open swath that kind of runs north and south, there's the single-family lots on the left side and the townhomes on the right side. Those are, one is an Exxon pipeline, and the other one is a Wolverine pipeline. They run north and south, they run all the way up. These are the ones that go along 151st Street over to Sitco, and they go south through Prime Business Park as well. They have been working with Exxon and Wolverine to best understand the easements and the setbacks and all those kinds of things so that they could design it appropriately. They are the ones that have restricted the number of crossings over that pipe that MI Homes would be allowed to do. So the two that have been located on this plan are the ones that they have concurred could occur over their pipeline. It also has to do with the depth of our sanitary lines and the water lines and the storm lines and gas and everything else. So those are the two spots where they allowed for that to occur. This item was presented at the regularly scheduled June 11th Plan and Zoning Commission meeting by a vote of 5-1. The recommendation was made to approve it, subject to the 5 conditions that are on your screen. I'm going to turn it over to Caitlin Chuck, who is with the attorney for MI Homes, and she's going to run through a presentation that they have as well.
Hi, my name is Caitlin Chuck with the law firm Rosenov and Whitaker on behalf of MI Homes. With me this evening, I have Scott Barenbergy from MI, and we're both happy to answer any questions that you have. By way of background, MI Homes is a well-respected national home builder that has been building homes since 1976, 15 years that have been in the Chicagoland area. Part of their corporate philosophy is to treat the customer right, and over the past 40 years, they've become one of the nation's most trusted and respected home builders, and they're actually the second largest home builder in the Chicagoland area. In fact, some of the towns MI is building include Naperville, Homer Glen, Plainfield, and many others. And as Lance mentioned, we have Silo Bend immediately east of the site that we're discussing tonight. So as Lance mentioned, the property is about 109 acres located south of 163rd Street and north of 167th Street, immediately west of Silo Bend. Portion of the property is zoned A1 in Lockport, and the other portion is A1 in unincorporated Will County, so we will be seeking annexation to the city of Lockport. We're going to work with staff to ensure that the site is properly zoned in order to reflect the proposal and consistent with the general area. Going into a little bit more detail about the site plan, MI is proposing a 385-unit residential development. It will be comprised of 177 single-family detached homes and 208 townhomes. The unique part about this community is that there will be 4 different distinct neighborhoods catering to 4 different types of buyers in all stages of life. So this is super unique and very different from anything else MI has ever done. But we're also looking to build upon the success of Silo Bend next door while also addressing the city's request for more product diversity. So with that, we're going to be offering a new single-family product on 43-foot wide lots, which is geared towards those first-time home buyers. We'll also be offering our traditional single-family home options on 65-foot wide lots geared towards our move-up buyers. In addition, as Lance mentioned, we'll have 2 different townhome products geared towards pretty much everybody, ranging from first-time home buyers to empty nesters. The development will accommodate a vast amount of parking. We'll have the requisite guest parking for the townhomes, and we recognize the importance of limiting instances of on-street parking, of course. We'll have approximately 13 acres of stormwater detention, which will create a nice passive and open space for the benefit of the community with some native improvements. As Lance mentioned, we'll have that multi-use path that is proposed throughout the community running north and south along the pipeline easement. And then there's an approximately 3-acre park that we seek to dedicate to the park district. It will be centrally located to the community. We're looking for some active and passive recreational components, but most importantly, we want this to be a central gathering place to bring all 4 housing types and 4 neighborhoods of the community together so we can create this unified community. Lastly, we'll have some significant landscape enhancements incorporated into the plan. So this includes a fence and significant landscaping along the western portion of the property in order to buffer the residences from that distribution center. Cross-access will be efficiently distributing traffic, so as Lance mentioned as well, we'll have access to the community from 163rd and 167th. That creates a nice new thoroughfare between the 2 heavily traveled roads, and then we are incorporating cross-access into Silo Bend to the east. This is logical, good planning in order to link those resources between the adjacent subdivisions. Turning over to architecture, as I mentioned, we're proposing 4 very different neighborhoods for this community. So this is, again, very different from anything we've done in the past. And this property specifically is a really great canvas to build upon the success of Silo Bend while expanding our different types of home products. So highlighted here in red is the new single-family series. This will be located in the northern portion of the site and comprises of 103 of the lots. This is a super unique product designed to accommodate a 30-foot wide detached home targeted towards those first-time home buyers. There will be 3 to 4 floor plans, with each floor plan offering 3 different elevations, creating architectural diversity consistent with the character of the adjacent single-family homes. We expect these homes to range between 1,700 and 2,100 square feet with options for 3 bedrooms. The homes are very efficient. They provide a lower cost new construction option for a detached single-family home. This is virtually unheard of in today's market. Obviously, it's a very competitive market today, and people are quite frequently priced out of new construction opportunities. There will also be 74 single-family lots located in the southern portion of the site. That's highlighted here in green. So these homes will be more of MI's traditional 65-foot wide lots that can accommodate 40-foot wide homes with the standard 2-car garages with the ability to upgrade for a 3-car garage. We plan to offer 7 floor plans to meet the diverse needs of buyers. And again, we will ensure that there will be anti-monotony throughout the community and maintain an interesting streetscape. Next up, we have the Charleston Townhomes, which will be located in the easternmost neighborhood of the community. These new townhome units will be located where there is a direct connection to an adjacent pod of existing Charleston townhomes in Silo Bend. So we did this specifically in order to ensure consistency for the transition between the subdivisions to make that transition seamless. We're proposing 21 Charleston buildings with 110 units. The floor plans will range from 1,500 to 2,100 square feet. This includes 2 and 3 bedroom configurations and 2 and 3 bathroom configurations. Also important to note, the N units also include a first floor master suite, which is intended to serve the needs of the region's aging population. So once again, showing that there really is someone for every type of home buyer in this community. Lastly, we have the Lincoln Square series. These townhomes will be located on the western portion of the community. There will be 21 buildings comprising 98 units. There will be 2 different floor plans ranging from about 1,400 square feet to 1,500 square feet. Both floor plans will have 2 to 3 bedroom units and 2 bathrooms and a 2-car garage. So these will be rear loaded, and the series is particularly unique for its configuration of having first floor primary living space located on a single floor right above the garage. So as always, we will continue to work with staff to ensure that the elevations are consistent with the city's design guidelines. And with that, we just want to thank you for your time and consideration this evening. We're super excited for the opportunity to bring this project forward. We think that this is, again, that there's something for every buyer here, especially in today's market. And we also think it'll be a great extension of Silo Bend. So we look forward to continuing our work here in Lockport. And Scott and I are available for questions.
I'll add one component that is really a bigger picture item, and it's really related to the orange mark that was on that resolution. We have talked consistently with MI Homes and some other developers that are interested in this area as well about really the need for another intersection at 159th Street. They are underway on a traffic study. We did just return the first round of comments on that traffic study that is more regional. It includes the Gauger 159th Street intersection. It includes a potential new intersection further east on that would then link up with, see if I can get it. So just using that plan where I'll just call it for now, Prime Boulevard extended to the north, that would then also potentially extend all the way north to 159th Street from 163rd. We do have another developer that's interested in developing the 2 parcels directly to the north of that, which would get us 90% of the way there, and then there would be one last parcel up against 159th Street. That traffic study, like I said, is underway. It's not technically required at concept plan, but we felt it was an important enough component of this overall design and planning phase that MI Homes was willing to fund that traffic study to occur during the concept plan phase. And so we're underway, and that's why that condition is listed in that resolution related to, they are fully aware, and everybody is fully aware, that something needs to be resolved as it relates to that intersection as a part of the preliminary and final development plan components of it. We do feel, and it proved out in some of the draft items, that there will be a lot of traffic that obviously comes out of something like this. And so having that second connection up at 159th Street is a really important component for us. We don't want to be in the same boat as when Broken Arrow was developed and we have a full 1 square mile block with no roads in between. Same thing occurred when Lago Vista was developed. We have a full another square mile of the city with no intermediate roads. That's why Farrell is so busy. That's why Gauger is so busy, is because there's no other way to go. And so we want to make sure that we are thinking long-term about these kinds of things. The developers who are looking to the north are fully in favor of being a part of that solution as well. So we've really gotten a lot of people on board to try and make something like that happen. But they are fully aware of that, but they would still like, at least for the current property owner, they would like to have some confidence or reasonable assurance that their concept plan is what you're looking for, and that they could start to move forward into the next phase, recognizing that, you know, we'll need to work through the connection up at 159th Street during this next phase.
All right, questions, comments, thoughts?
I have a comment or two.
I've got some comments.
Okay, Darren, you go first.
Okay, I'll go first.
Why don't you go first,
I want to see
Darren?
how the battle went.
This is, I'm just going to read directly from an email I received, and I have shared this email with Scott. He took a picture of this, so he doesn't have to go ahead and take notes. Okay, so first comment is 163rd Street currently is not safe. It's dangerous to enter 163rd from Silo Bend. Now, this person lives in Silo Bend, going westbound and at times even eastbound. The same safety concern would be duplicated at the proposed 163rd entrance to southbound west. 163rd is hilly and several blind spots and non-conforming speed limits. I have to concur with that concern, because I have gone out of Silo Bend many times, and I make a habit of checking to see there's no oncoming traffic coming from the west, so I can go ahead and stay in the west lane, the south line going west, make sure nobody's going to hit me coming from the east. Number two is 167th at Prime Boulevard is the entrance to Silo Bend West, as well as a possible and hopeful path connection to 355 Memorial Path. However, Prime and 167th already has traffic from the Bodome, light manufacturing, and we'll see some large uptick in traffic from the hockey arena. The traffic at Prime starts very early and goes well past midnight. The intersection needs a stoplight. Also, 167th from Gauger to Cedar is a mix of speed limits. Now, as a note, it happens to be a Will County road. We have no control over that, okay? And is frequently used for racing, as is very flat with no traffic speed reductions. Daily we observed this. And number three, I agree with my fellow Silo Bend residents that the 38, might be 36 units along the north-south axis is the Charlestown portion. On the east is too much in terms of forming a wall of units. Additional breaks in this or reconfiguration reduction should be reviewed and presented by MI. It's good to have the housing mix in the concept for the west. It's a positive, but the east end of the concept is not a positive. Please ask MI to fix this with more creativity. It just doesn't work and it doesn't fit. And finally, the city and MI did a great job with Silo Bend. We residents in Silo Bend love it here and hope West can be equally part of the community. That's all I have.
Yeah, I'll note, to the point of the intersections, in particular, we recognize that those are an issue, that those intersections with 167th Street, 163rd Street, and then 159th Street are all subject to this traffic study. And so they will identify all of the volumes, the turning movements, projected turning movements under a whole variety of different scenarios, and identify improvements at each one of those intersections. Could include traffic signals if they're warranted based on typical IDOT warrants that we utilize to evaluate any traffic location intersection in the city. But those are certainly being studied as a part of that traffic study. And again, it's not required during concept plan, but we recognize that it's valuable in this particular instance, and MI was willing to support that effort.
My turn? You done, Darren? Okay. One of the things I've noticed in here is at the top side of that, at 163rd Street, you're saying that we're going to have to create a road to go from there to 159th Street, which is the field and to the north of that. I presume that's north. So to get from here to there, that's 159th Street. So that'll be a road that'll have to be put in to connect there. The other concern I have is, and I see this a lot on Farrell, a lot of traffic on that road, Farrell, from 159th to 151st. I'm concerned that going from 167 to 163rd, that's going to become a very busy street. A lot of streets in Naperville that started out with small, now like Naper Boulevard has grown. So that's one of the concerns. But I like the mix of property. I looked at it and I was like, wow, that covers all the bases, and I think you guys did a phenomenal job. The floor plans, exterior look great, sizes look great. And I like the idea of the Central Park area there. I think that adds a little sense of community. People can go and gather, so I think that is great. I noticed something on the corner here. There's a commercial 5.5 acres. Is that under your control?
So we are the contract purchaser of the whole site. We will not be developing the commercial, but we will have control over who we sell it to, and of course, we want to make sure it is in line with the city's objectives for that area.
So you'll be in communication with Lance in terms of what we think should go there and be appropriate for the neighborhood?
One of the things that we've talked about with MI Homes as far as like casting a vision for that is an example of it. There's one in Bolingbrook on Hassert Boulevard and Weber Road where it's a series of smaller inline, I don't want to say entrepreneurial shops because that's probably too basic for it, but it's people that are looking to get started in a business. So they're smaller shops. They're typically less architectural detailing to keep the rent numbers lower. But it is a good buffer between the UPS building and the industrial that's directly to the west, and some homes that would be directly to the east. That's one of the ideas that has been tossed around. There are a whole variety of others. What we do know is this isn't going to be the next Kohl's. This isn't going to be the next, Walmart. This isn't going to be Portillo's. This isn't going to be those types of things because it's just not visible from any major traffic center. And so we're looking for that, and MI is very supportive of it, trying to work with us on what that becomes and finding the right purchaser for it to achieve that vision.
Yeah, in closing, I really like the idea of the way you've got it segmented in terms of areas. So looking forward to that becoming a reality. Good job.
To your geographic point, what I will point out from a property ownership standpoint, the tall rectangular farm field on that image that's directly north of the subject property, those are only 2 properties. They're very long, linear property ownerships, and so the group that is interested in developing directly north of there, by a function of getting the property, they will own both of those long properties, and that's why it's important to have them supportive of also allowing for that extension of Prime Boulevard or whatever name it becomes to get all the way up to the north. And we're going to try and work with some of those property owners up on 159th Street to find that solution.
Cool. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Is the properties that are west of Wheatgrass Street in the existing, or the older area of Silo Bend, those are townhomes, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so they're like
It's the exact same model. It's just an
Same
extension
series.
of,
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right.
yeah.
And it doesn't matter for concept. I think that's all I've got.
The middle section is going to be the park, is that correct?
Yes.
Correct.
About 3 acres.
And we've been working with Bill over at the Park District. He is totally in favor of the arrangement and the location of this. The way that it's ringed by streets, he finds very favorable because it doesn't provide any neighbors that he has to worry about encroaching into the park or fence falling into the park and a bunch of those types of things. So he's been very favorable with that. We had planned for bike trail connections between Silo Bend to the east and the park here, so all the residents will have access to both this park as well as the Morris Park expansion and Morris Park that we had done as a part of the original Silo Bend to the east. So there's some really good corridors that are being developed.
So I have one other thing I noticed in here. The streets that are around that park area are going to be a little bit wider so that you can accommodate people that drive up and park and then go into the park.
We will plan to have on-street parking around the
Okay,
perimeter of
and the
the
streets
park.
will be a little bit wider to accommodate, okay, cool.
More than likely, the Park District will build some parking
Okay.
in the park
Oh, built it, okay.
so that
okay.
they would come in there, then there would be the on-street parking as typical.
Will there be exceptions for evening parking for residents parking out in the street?
Like
Or-
overnight?
I'm sorry?
Like overnight?
Yes, overnight?
No, it'll be the same as the rest of the city.
Same, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, we have worked with them within the townhome areas to provide separate head-in parking, kind of like what we did at Lennar, to make sure that guests or someone like that would be there, would have someplace to be able to park. So it wouldn't be parallel parking.
Since we mentioned affordable housing as part of this conversation, do you have a rough estimate of what the Lincoln Square townhome would start at?
I believe they're expected to be low 300s. Is that right, Lincoln Square?
Yeah,
Starting from the low 300s for Lincoln Square.
This is a 1,700 square foot
For
house?
the townhomes?
1,400 square foot town.
So that's the base price approximately?
Yeah, and that's the westernmost townhomes.
Okay.
So those are different from the Charleston townhomes. They're kind of all over the place, so again, trying
Sure.
to make sure we hit all different buyers of all different price points, needs and all that.
And I want to,
The smaller homes price point, what are you guys estimating for that?
So Lincoln Square would be our smallest.
Okay.
The smaller detached, you're probably asking.
Yes.
Those would transact from the high threes with an average price of about 40.
How much?
480.
These are the 1,700 square foot homes?
These range from 1834 to 2350.
But it's the smaller lot, single family that
Yeah,
we're
the
talking about.
43.
That was the new single-family series.
and just to clarify, Alderman Pugh, when we say the word affordable housing, because that will immediately capture a whole bunch of people. This is not Section 8, this is not
Oh, right,
voucher.
right.
This is not any of those. So I just want to make sure
Yeah.
that we're clear. This is entry level, this is attainable,
Starter
things like
homes,
that.
right.
So this is not federal voucher program and all the other things that will immediately pop in people's heads when
Yeah.
we say affordable.
Not mine, Lance.
And then your price point for the larger homes?
So they will be a direct extension of what's actively for sale at Silo Bend.
Yeah.
So those would have base prices starting from the mid to high fives, with all-in prices of around $625.
Okay. Just, we reached out to schools, are they aware of what's going on?
Yep, we shared this with District 33C as well as 205.
The business park, so one concern I have about the commercial spot, which I like the idea of what you guys have been talking about. My concern would be if these get built and then that comes in later, you're inevitably inevitably going to have every one of those people angry at you. So is there screening involved? Is there those kinds of things? Because even the person that's living in Silo Bend is upset about housing going next to him. People are really going to be upset if you put commercial next to them. And although I love that use because I think it's needed, I always lament that we don't have those kind of size shops here in Lockport. Putting it in after the fact is going to become problematic. It'd be a concern of mine, how that plays out. I agree with the traffic. I mean, this is going to be a tough one. The roads are not, they'll be tough. And I guess if I've always appreciated that you're thinking about this connection all the way north, I think that would help alleviate a lot of people off of Farrell if they can go all the way through here. That will be, I think, kind of in some ways, to Pat's point, is like, what kind of road is it going to be? Because suddenly you'll have a bunch of people living in those townhomes going, this has become a thoroughfare, right? And then when we're kind of thinking that it should be a thoroughfare, but I'm not sure that, depending on how this plays out, like this gets built and then that other road happens later, and I would be antsy even doing it without guarantees that that road's happening all the way to 159th. It's one thing to talk about it and plan for it, which is the right thing to do, but, you know, we've learned not to celebrate anything until the ribbon's cut. So I'd hate for it to happen and then everybody's bottlenecked going out on the Farrell. So these are my concerns I want to put out there for this concept plan.
Yeah, just two things to your points. For the commercial property, that requires landscape screening and buffering around anywhere where it touches residential. So that would certainly be a part of the development project when and if that comes in. And to your second point, that is really why the importance of item 4 in the resolution is in there, is because we need to have this resolved before it advances to preliminary and final, so that all will be kind of wrapped up into one.
Who's doing the traffic study?
KLOA. They do traffic studies all over the region, and then Shamlin, our consulting engineer, is doing the reviews on it with their traffic team to do that, as well as our internal folks as well.
I just have one more comment. A tremendous amount of water travels across this property. I have no idea where this water comes from, but when it rains, it floods. So, Brian, I would hope that you would, and preliminary and definitely at final, that this gets over-engineered from a standpoint of we maybe only need to engineer for 100 gallons of water, but we really need to engineer for 1,000 gallons of water, because there's a tremendous amount of water. It's the only place in town that I know that has a torrent of water when it rains.
Yeah, the design actually shows, and they designed it for it. There. You have the few homes down to the south. You can kind of see where that water comes through and where the crossing happens. So it's that little bit of an angled area. That's where you see the river that develops every rainstorm. So they did take it in account when they did design this site, so.
Can you tell me what the property tax is on the average house in Silo Bend right now? They do.
Can we go to the slide that showed drainage?
Isn't it based on, like?
There's a slide.
I would.
One more.
Yeah.
There.
Yeah, you can look it up on the Will counties. I've looked at a little bit of this, and it's $15,000 to $20,000 based upon what kind of house you have.
Yeah.
It's too much. Pretty amazing.
It's bad. I mean, I know it's like, oh, it's revenue for us, but I don't know. Okay.
Taxes already went up, and you can only imagine what those are.
All right, any other questions? Then Okay, thanks for the presentation, and we'll have it up at our next meeting.
Do you want this as an action item?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, friends. Next, PW1, Baxter Woodman. What do you got there?
This is for the approval of resolution number 24-076 to accept a proposal from Baxter and Woodman for the well 15 VFD installation design build in the amount not to exceed $374,541. The reason we're doing design build in this one is because of the long lead times to order the VFD and the PLCs. This basically shrinks down the schedule from 70 weeks to about 34 weeks. And we're able to gain this, or shorten the schedule by actually getting ahead, order the materials as soon as this contract gets awarded. They can go ahead and put the order in, and then while they fine tune the design and get everything else out for the fine tunes of the inner guts of the system, the long lead time items are already getting manufactured. It kind of saves on our design because we don't have to actually go out with, and lower engineering costs because we don't have to actually go out with bid document level documents. So that kind of saves us on that part, and it doesn't overlap the design, or it does overlap the design build. So as they're designing it and the materials are good in there, we can actually start building the product and the project and stuff. So it's really more of a time savings for this. It's just never recovered since COVID, and we're just, I mean, the lead times are just astonishing. So this will help us on that.
And it's suggested that we put this on action item because it does require supermajority vote since it's not being bid out, and because obviously for the reasons stated by Brian, that it will speed up the process and lower the cost.
Question. In the document, it says, design, build, delivery offers the following benefits to this project. Lump sum price before the project is kicked off, meaning no change orders for the city. Reduces schedule by 50%. I understand getting hardware is always a problem with supply chains, but if you're in the process of, they give us a bid of 374, and it's a lump sum project with no change orders while they're designing it, you know, there's going to be a hiccup here or there that's going to end up in being a change order, I'm sure.
And that's what benefits us. So they've already walked the site to give the proposal. They've already been in there. So the design team knows what we have, and they know what's needed to put it in.
Okay.
So the actual process of doing that, it's not like when you go out to bid, a bidder is kind of looking at documents and you've never been there. They've already seen it, they've walked through our whole system, they know what we need and what they need to upgrade to bring our system to it, and that's why we were able to get this price.
The other question I had is, will a lot of these sites interconnect with the SCADA system so they're all on network so they can?
Yes, yeah, this one's currently on SCADA, so will be upgraded, so it continues that way. So part of it is the integration. This does include the integration of our current SCADA system with the new equipment.
Okay, cool.
Where is well 15?
Well 15's the deep well, so the tower. Yeah, 151st Street.
The new
Got
one.
the
Right by
Fox radar on it, right?
No, it's first.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Then we'll put it up for action. Thank you.
How long has the existing drive been on it?
There is not an existing VFD.
Right, but there is something.
Actually, it does not. It goes on, it turns on, and it runs at 100%.
Huh.
And
So it's
once
not a
done, it
variable
shuts
speed, it's
off.
just a fixed speed
Straight
drive?
up, yes, speed. So this allows us to run it, the VFD, the variable frequency, allows us to actually bring it down so we could run the well a longer time frame, so that it ends up being
Less
less
impacts on the
up and
table.
down, and it allows us, so we can tune it down to 70%. We can get that well, deep well water, which is a softer water throughout the whole system, and be able to get that spread out and like reduce the amount of wells that we're using elsewhere. So
How old's the existing drive on it?
it was put in before
It's
me,
been,
five?
oh,
There
that's,
yeah.
yeah.
So it's really not a drive, it's just the motor right now, so it's turning it on and off, so there is nothing that actually, this goes in between what the actual pump and the motor. So this is the mechanism in between to allow you to turn it on and off. So it's like a volume switch we're putting in.
Yeah.
So right now, it's an on and off
You're taking a
button.
piece of equipment out.
No, we're adding.
we're adding a piece of
We're adding
equipment.
something in
Nothing's
between.
coming out?
Yeah.
Nothing's coming out. So basically, it's like, it would be like if you turned on a speaker and you hit on, it goes full volume.
Right.
And there's
I
nothing
get
to
that
turn it
part.
down.
I was asking.
Yeah, the
whether
original
we're
design didn't
replacing-
include a VFD. I would say we should have done that back in the day, but it wasn't part of the original spec. So we've been kind of bulldogging with them for this for probably 6-8 months or more. And this is one of the solutions we feel is going to help bring more better quality water throughout our system, and we can kind of reduce the amount of flow from older systems that have more iron in the water. So this is definitely a path forward to help get better water in our system more often. That was the goal of the Well 15, which when we turn it on, it fills the bladder over by the police station in about 5 minutes. It's a robust well. We just need better controls on it that we need to add to it.
And do any of the other wells in town have a VFD on them already?
I think most of them.
All of them do.
All of them, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So just oversight on construction.
Yeah, I don't know why it wasn't, that was a couple years ago when it was designed.
The reality of this well is it's been problematic.
Yeah.
Right? It's just what it is. Every project we do, not everyone's a home run, and this was not. And so, a couple foul balls on this. What do we do now? Fix it or
Right.
seal it up?
We
We're not
wanna
going to
get
seal
the
it
best
up. It's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, we got to just plow through until we can get this done right. And that's been the struggle with it. It's getting that deep well water, like you mentioned, is the right thing. It's good, but we've never really had just the full access and to it because we've had these problems. So, do you feel confident, Brian, that if we do this, we'll be done with this well? We'll have it up and running, and it should be where it's supposed to be, and we don't have to keep revisiting it?
Yes, what it is this will allow us to control it, and then later this year, we're gonna be pulling the pump from this well, and then once we pull it and get that serviced, then we will have everything we need for getting this one running.
So the last cost will be pulling the pump and
It'll be pulling
servicing
the
it.
pump and actually getting it serviced, yeah. So resurfacing that. This allows us to control it to, because even if the VFD is not there, we can only run it for maybe half an hour before everything gets filled. During the summer, we can run it longer when everyone's watering and there is a higher usage, but it runs and it fills so fast and pulls out at 100%. So we can tune that down to 70. Now we can actually use it for multiple hours, if not control maybe that run all day on a Saturday evening and stuff. So it could handle the load of the city.
And forgive me, because I'm not an engineer, but is it the problem with it turning on full force and then turning it off, as opposed to, oh, we just keep it at a lower rate more often? What's really the problem with it going to full force that fast? Does it really?
That's the hardest thing. It's the startup. It's actually just getting the pump to turn on. Once it's on, it's fine, and it can shut down. It's just the restart up then. So it goes on, it goes full blast, it shuts off, and then it's to restart it again. When it's needed, it's not starting up.
That's been the
So our
okay.
guys have to come in to try to restart it. So we always have manual people there to override it
Okay.
and switch over to the generators to start.
All right, I got you.
I got one more question. When we do, my business does quotations and whatnot, and there's hardware involved, we ask customers to pay, a little bit up front to get the hardware cost paid for. Is this a lump sum at the end of the project, or is there a payout? I didn't see any payout schedules here.
Yeah, there's no payout on this one. This will be, they will order it, they get the materials, and then once they get it, they'll install it all.
Okay, and at the end of it up and running,
Yeah.
then they'll submit the bill? Okay, thank you.
I just had a quick question. What's the typical lifespan on a VFD?
That's good.
Dang.
That's a good one.
Long time?
Yeah. I honestly, I would have to check. I'm not 100% sure. You should get, I would say 10 to 15 years should be on it before we have to even worry about maintaining it and stuff. It could be longer. It depends on the wear and tear of it.
Gotcha.
Okay, we'll be on the action item. Thank you. PW1, you got some surplus?
Yes,
Or
so we have
PW2?
just an old vehicle, 208, used to be in the water department, got moved over to the engineering department about a year ago. It's become basically just a maintenance problem. It's really not safe for our interns. We kind of moved it over for interns to drive it on the road. I think it would be serviceable like on a farm, driving around the back country roads and stuff, but it's just not reliable enough for us to keep maintaining it, so we just want to surplus it.
All right, we good with consent on that one?
Yes.
Everybody? Yeah?
Yes.
All right, consent it is. All right, I guess that's everything. Last chance for new business.
I just want to say, I may not be here at the next meeting. I have my daughter-in-law is due to give birth on August 9th. I don't think she'll make it that long. So
You've
if I'm
asked
not
her to
here
have her
on
baby
August
on the day
7th,
of a meeting?
It's not because I don't love you people, but I'm going to go see my grandson.
Oh, I did have one more thing for new business, but it's more for like our future budget. I got invited to a block party for Ward 2. It was a wonderful time. I also had a call regarding another block party, and they weren't aware that Lockport giving them an incentive of money was just a one-time deal. We did it for COVID to get people out. So I was wondering if we might want to consider as a council maybe adding a small line for future, because I guess it's really appreciated and was well used, I believe, last time, so.
Honestly, I thought we did it before COVID, man. Yeah.
Was it before COVID?
Yeah.
It was certainly taken advantage of more during COVID. I mean, and then after COVID, I think we just kind of faded away and wasn't necessarily in the budget. I think we covered maybe one in the last couple of years for like the veterans group or something, but that's a line item we could put back in the budget if the council so wishes for an X amount of money, whether it's.
Yeah. I thought they were
On
great.
average, they're about $500 asks. We could come up with any parameters you want, but I would recommend we just put a set amount into the budget next year, and then when it's exhausted, it's gone. So if it's $500 each and we do 10 and it's no more than $5,000 a year, that's certainly something we could absorb. if
Yeah,
that's
they're
what you guys
great
wanna do.
neighborhood community builders, so, yeah, okay.
We'll bring those up in our 2x2 sessions.
And less restricted, because I think for a while it was like, yeah, if you guys want to have like a bouncy house, we'll cover that, but, so there will have to be some restriction.
Yeah, and it's a reimbursement basis. They give us receipts, and so Donna helps us with it, so.
Like a beer.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, that was
No alcohol.
$500 worth of beer. Okay. All right, all good then? We're looking for a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Renee, Pat, all in favor?
Aye.
Thanks.
I was going to tell you, I reached out to Rob at Chamberlain to see